Terry Barber is a best-selling author and founder of Lighthouse Catholic Media. Jesse Romero is a retired law enforcement officer, a former kickboxing champion with a master's degree in theology. And together, they share a passion for evangelization and PhDs in common sense. It's the Terry and Jesse Show on Immaculate Heart Radio. To join the show, call 888-526-2151. Now here's Terry and Jesse.
This is the day the Lord has made. Let us rejoice and be glad in it. This is Blue Collar Catholic Radio. Today we're going to be interviewing a friend of ours, a friend of the show, Zachary King. Zachary was a former member of the Church of Satan for 26 years, and he actually rose to the level of a high wizard in the Church of Satan. Zachary was converted to the Catholic faith through the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary as a result of the miraculous medal. That's a story in itself. Zachary King has now switched jerseys. He's taken off the jersey of Team Satan, and he's put on the jersey of Team Jesus, and he's an on-fire Catholic. He's been an on-fire Catholic for the last several years, sharing his story around the country, even in other parts of the world, also teaching Catholics about the occult, the dangers of the occult, and basically teaching Catholics about spiritual warfare from somebody who's been on the opposite side of the fence. Zachary, welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show.
Oh, thanks for having me again. Great to be here.
Zach, we're so happy to have you again. For those people who were at the Spiritual Warfare Conference last January, we had a packed house, and it was wonderful. I just want to give those people who don't have a copy of your conversion story, I'd love to give 2 copies away to everybody. They can do that by just paying the shipping by calling 877-526-2151. That's 877-526-2151. And by the way, Zach's coming again, everybody, July 29th and 30th here at the Sacred Heart Chapel. Mark your calendars for the summer. I'll have the air conditioning on for everybody. Just call that number, the 877-526-2151. I've got Zach coming, I got Jesse coming, and I've got Father Bob, who's a good friend of the radio show. He went on our trip to the with the ocean on the trip there, and he's just a great priest who's worked with Jesse, right, Jess, for years.
He's also been involved in healing and deliverance for a long time. He's probably one of the most astute priests that I've ever seen. The way the Lord uses him in healing and deliverance. You know, we want to talk about today, now that we have Zach here, somebody who's been on the dark side and somebody who knows this not from reading books, but from having been there. Zach, you know, when we look at some of these saints of the church, like St. Augustine and Tertullian, he's not a saint, but he was one of the early Christian writers, they use the phrase, the devil is the monkey of God. That's a common phrase amongst the church fathers. And Fulton Sheen, he uses a similar phrase. He says the devil is the ape of God. That's what Fulton Sheen says. The devil is the ape of God. Now, here's where I'm going with this as we start these questions that we want to ask you. We know that the Holy Bible, it warns us that one of the ways that the devil is going to attack us is through deception. That's what it says in the Holy Bible. In Revelation chapter 12, verse 9, it says, the huge dragon, the ancient serpent who's called the devil and Satan, here it is, who deceived the whole world, was thrown down to earth, and its angels were thrown down with it. So we want to key in on that word for today's show, deceive. The Bible says the devil deceives the whole world. Fulton Sheen calls the devil the ape of God, and Tertullian and St. Augustine call him the monkey of God. Now, what does the word deception mean? In case some of our callers are saying, well, I'm not really sure what deception means. Webster says that deception means trick, to trick, or a ruse, a hoax, an imposter, or a stratagem. So having said that, let's launch right into it. Zach, it seems as if Satan worship has come back worldwide. It seems to be stronger. And I'd say in the last 5 or 10 years, and I've seen it in my other 54 years of life. Do you believe that Satan worship has returned with greater strength, with greater vigor around the world? Do you believe that? And if so, why is this happening?
Well, I think in some respects it has not. It appears that it has, because Satan has as like so many things he does is behind the scenes because he is deceitful. You know, he does things where we don't see it. You know, it's like we're upset that there's, I know we're going to talk about this later, but we're upset that there's this black mass happening and that we had the one at Yale and we had the one in Oklahoma City, and everybody was up in arms about this. And it's like, you know, these things happen every day. You know, they happen every day around the world, and every time zone, there's constantly a black mass happening. Wow. Just like there's a Catholic mass happening all around the world 24 hours a day. You know, it's that we don't know about it, and suddenly we do know about it, and we think, oh, Satan's coming back with a vengeance. And it's like, no, Satan's always been here with his vengeance. He's always done this. He just does it in the dark. You know, he does it where we don't see it. You know, now though, now that as almost every country in the world has embraced gay marriage, you know, and it's like, you know, they've redefined what marriage is, and now that, you know, we do 1.3 million abortions a year just in America and just Planned Parenthood, and we've accepted this abortion monster throughout the world. Well, now it's time to embrace Satanism as a church and legitimize it and bring it out into the public and into the light and let everybody see this is what's going on. And it's not that we've got more of it than we've ever had, although, you know, the world is getting worse and worse. We've now got it in the public eye. You know, it's like Satan spent so much of his life hiding and convincing people he wasn't real. And now that, you know, we're all to that point practically, now he's like, well, let me bring my church out into the open and let everybody see, you know, because if you look at types of Satanism, you know, there's as many people as there are Satanists is about how many different types of Satanism there is.
Wow.
But when you break that down into the basics, there's atheistic and theistic. And atheistic is on the rise. You know, and this is people that claim, they allege they don't believe in God or the devil. Right. And they don't believe in heaven or hell. These are just man-made terms to control society, you know, for the church to get money, you know, and to fill the church and, you know, just to have control over people. Now, these same people that say, I don't believe in God, I don't believe in the devil, I just embrace this title because it's the worst title you could be called, and I want to interject right here that pedophile, I think, is a much worse title. I don't know why they don't just embrace that title and be done with it, but they don't. They take Satanism or a Satanist. But, you know, they claim they don't believe in God or the devil. But if that's the case, then why do they have to steal a consecrated host from a Catholic church? How come they don't steal the Baptist Wonder Bread? How come they don't steal the Jehovah's Witnesses? They do a memorial service every once in a while. Sure. Why don't they steal their bread? You know, they have to steal and how is it that they know it's a consecrated host? How is it? Because they feel revulsion and hatred and sickness from touching the consecrated host. And if they touch an unconsecrated host, they don't get that feeling. Yet, they say they don't believe in God or the devil. How is it they're feeling these things from just a piece of bread?
Wow, Zach, I just got to tell our listeners, I'm sitting down. I usually stand, but I'm sitting right now. I'm just going, wow, that's unbelievable. If people want to get your testimony of your conversion with Our Lady, and I'll give 2 copies away if folks want to get it. Just call the 877-526-2151 number. Zach, here's my question. As I was thinking about this interview, one thing came to mind, and that is the devil, as we were saying at the beginning, is a deceiver. It seems like this transgender issue that's going on in our country and around the world, that men, if you think you're a woman, then you're a woman, and if a man, you just kind of like you want to switch hit. And it seems to me that whether it's directly or indirectly tied in with the devil, because he likes to have things done in the opposite direction, like the black mass is just the opposite of our mass. And our sexuality, a man and a woman get married and have conjugal love, and children come from that. And it seems to me, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems like this homosexuality, the transgenderism, is right up the alley of the devil. Am I coming on the right direction, or am I off on that?
Oh, no, you're coming exactly right. I mean, if you think about, you know, in the Old Testament as well as in the New Testament, when Jesus reiterated, he defined what marriage was. Mm-hmm. You know, it's between a man and a woman, a man leaves, you know, his family and becomes one flesh with his wife. Yeah. Now, you think about, you've got the definition in the Bible, and it's in there twice. There's also multiple places in the Bible where they reject homosexuality, and that's mentioned multiple times.
Yep.
And so what do we have? We have just an overabundance of that. Although, there was that study that came out last year, I think it was last year, that was put out by our government, by the Center for Disease Control.
Yeah.
And they came out, and there's not 10% of the population is homosexual.
Right.
It's 1.6%.
Yeah, the CDC.
Yep. And this is
Sure.
this is a government agency that's highly regulated and is also condoned by our president, who who put rainbow lights at the White House when the gay marriage thing passed. And it's like, okay, so 1.6. Wait, I have to adjust the way my life is run and the things that I say out in public, and my priest can't speak out against homosexuality from the pulpit because of 1.6% of the nation?
Unreal.
That's crazy.
Unreal.
That's craziness. That is the devil. That's the devil right there.
Yeah, Jack, we got to take a quick break. I hear the music, but Jess, you're going to, first of all, I'm just going to mention, I'm going to be at St. Clair's Catholic Church in Santa Clara tomorrow at 7 p.m. I'd love to have our listeners join me for that. If you'd like Jesse Romero to come to your parish, go to jesseromero.com. If you'd like me to come and speak on evangelization, just call the 877-526-2151 number. That's the same number. You can get Zachary King's conversion story by calling the 877-526-2151 or go to our website, catholicrc.org. When we come back, we'll continue to ask Zachary King, a former Satanist, more questions about the devil. Don't turn that dial. We're going to be right back.
Back to the Terry and Jesse Show on Immaculate Heart Radio. Want to join the conversation? Call 888-526-2151. Now here's Terry and Jesse.
Blue Collar Catholic Radio, we're back. We're interviewing Zachary King, former member of the Church of Satan for 26 years, now a part of Team Jesus. The last several years, he's converted to the Catholic faith as a result of the intercession of the Blessed Virgin Mary, the miraculous medal. That's a story in itself. Zachary King's a walking encyclopedia, not because he's read encyclopedias. In fact, I think Zach's already admitted several times that he's blind. But Zach lived this. So he knows this from his DNA about spiritual warfare. We're talking specifically about the way the devil deceives us. And the Bible tells us that he deceives us in Revelation chapter 12, verse 9. It says, the devil and Satan, who deceived the whole world, was thrown down to the earth, and its angels were thrown down with it. So we've been warned by the Holy Bible. And Jesus also told us in John 8:44 that the devil is the father of lies, a liar and the father of lies. Zach, I want to ask you another question. I saw a couple of weeks ago, there was a very disturbing video, but you know something about this firsthand. There was a video of Satanists that were dressed like babies. They had baby costumes, baby masks, and they were in front of an abortion clinic, basically mocking and disturbing with a very grotesque form of protest against Catholics and Protestant pro-lifers that were there peacefully praying in front of the abortion clinic, and they were being disruptive, and they were doing all kinds of bizarre things to try to shut down the peaceful protests. So my question is to you, is Satanism, is it involved in the abortion movement, yes or no?
I cannot give you an emphatic enough yes, for that. It's like abortion is like the fuel that Satan uses for his machine. It is the most heinous spell that it's a hex that the Satanist uses he uses the abortion to move that along. I think it's in Minnesota where the Satanists are suing the governor because they say that this woman went to get an abortion, and she said it is her right under her satanic religion to get an abortion on demand, that she shouldn't have to read pamphlets or sign up on a form or wait 2 weeks or have to see a sonic, I can't think what that's called, where they
sonogram.
Sonogram. They shouldn't have to wait to see that. She should just go in, get the abortion, and walk out the door, and everything's fine. And as a result, they're suing the governor over that. It's like it constantly. When the Lepanto Institute interviewed me back in August of last year, and this article went viral, it's at lepantoinstitute.com, and it's ex-Satanist says he performed abortions in abortion clinic. The week it came out, I got death threats from Satanists, and they were posting messages on public message boards saying, Satanists don't believe these things, Satanists don't do these things. And I made a statement about Wiccans doing the same thing. And a bunch of Wiccans came out, and I'm being attacked for 7 days, basically, on how that Satanists don't do these things, Wiccans don't believe these things, how dare I say these things. Then that weekend, because that article came out on a Monday, on Saturday, Satanists made a public demonstration at a Planned Parenthood saying that, it's their right to get this done. And Wiccans appeared the same weekend and said it's a woman's sacrament to get an abortion. And suddenly, all the protesting against Zachary King went away because Satan just proved my point for me.
Yep. Well said.
He can't help himself. He has to attack, even though he knows every time he attacks us, we offer it up. Souls come in to purgatory. We steal souls from hell.
I love it.
We bring souls into heaven. We bring souls into the Catholic Church because the devil attacks us and we offer it up, and he's too stupid to stop.
Well said.
That's how I know I'm on the right track, is because I'm constantly under attack. If Satan stopped attacking me, I'd be like, uh-oh, what did I do wrong?
Yeah. Hey, Zach, I got to tell you, I interrupt. This is Terry, and that's one of the reasons I like you, brother, because you are attacked, and I can tell you that's the kind of people I like to hang with, because if you're not being attacked, you're probably not doing any good. So, partner, thanks for being with us. Zach, here's my next question. And again, folks, if you haven't heard Zachary King's conversion story, how Our Lady just touched his soul, get a copy of it by calling 877-526-2151. I'm going to give 2 copies away, 877-526-2151. And my next question, Zach, is last week we had a show regarding Beyonce, the famous singer, and how on YouTube she talked about getting evil spirits into her life and being really satanic in her work as a musician, and that she says some things that are just so vile we couldn't even repeat it on the radio. But my question is, there's a lot of famous people in the industry that are very open about their connection with Satanism. Can you elaborate a little bit more on that?
Well, Beyonce has, she claims, I think it's Tasha Fierce.
That's right.
Is her demon that she says she gets possessed with. Mm-hmm. Her husband as well, Jay-Z.
Yep.
The symbol for his company, Rockaware, is the diamond, which is an Illuminati symbol.
Yep.
He always holds it up, or he holds up the devil horns, and and he's very open about this, and I think he has a connection to Satanism.
Yeah.
Keisha, another singer, she's got a song called, I think it's Die Young, and in the video of the song, you see Illuminati symbols from beginning to end. You see an orgy scene multiple times. And remember that the kids that watch these videos are generally like 12 to 16.
Sad.
Is what, is the majority of the people that watch.
Yeah.
So you're looking at a bunch of nude people in a room where obviously they don't show, the parts, but
Sure.
you can tell these people are naked.
Yeah.
And that's multiple times. And then all these Illuminati symbols that the world recognizes as Illuminati symbols. You have like the single eye or the pyramid or certain hand gestures. And then, and so that's a constant theme throughout her music, as well as Lady Gaga.
Yeah.
I can't think of the other woman's name, but she does the song
Rihanna?
Dark Horse. No, I can't think of the woman's name.
But there's several out there.
Anyway, there's several out there that say, I tried to make it this way and I couldn't make it.
Wow.
And I made a deal with the devil, and now look at me.
Unbelievable.
And it's a common theme. I was on Jeff Rent's last year, and they played like 20 versions, 20 different interviews back to back of artists, everywhere from like heavy metal to rap. Eminem has a song called 3 a.m. where he talks about doing evil, being an evil person at 3 a.m.
Wow.
And in the video, you see that he commits a murder at 3 a.m. and hides the body. Bob Dylan, he's being interviewed on 60 Minutes, and he admits on 60 Minutes that he is fulfilling his end of the bargain. He sold his soul to the devil, and now he's working hard for the devil and constantly touring so that he upholds his end of this because he sold his soul.
Yeah.
And it is like, when I was a high wizard, I worked with the Illuminati for 12 years, and I worked with a satanic cult in California known as the Cult. And what they would do, because they didn't have magic people, they needed somebody to help them. Basically, they are helping artists become famous. And I go into a huge room with a bunch of people that want to be rock stars, and I go up individually and I ask, who wants to be famous and what are you willing to do? Wow. And everybody will say, I'll do anything to be famous. But everybody also has that line in the sand they'll draw, because you'll say like, well, what do you mean by anything? Well, I wouldn't do A or B. Well, that's not who Satan wants. Satan wants the person that will do A and B and will do A through Z. He wants you to be willing to be drugged through the mud. And if you're willing to do that, he'll happily skip with you all the way to hell.
Wow.
And that's what my job was, is to find that person that says, I would do anything. And once I ask you a couple of statements that are really disgusting. Would you be willing to do this or this?
Yeah.
And if the person says yes, I give them a card. It's called a Tier 2 card. And that has another address on it. And they go there and they do whatever it is those people want them to do, which is not my job. I don't care. I don't want to know.
Yeah.
But I know that after sending them there, maybe a few weeks later, a few months later, I would see that person in a rock video on MTV or VH1. It's obviously they did whatever the next tier was, and it didn't bother them. But, it's like I say in my talks, when you hear about some rock star that has drunk themselves to death or took a bunch of pills and they died, or they intentionally killed themselves, and you're thinking, okay, they've got millions of dollars and they've got a big house and they've got all these cars and motorcycles and girlfriends and drugs. Why would they kill themselves?
Yeah.
It's like, because they're trying to forget how they got there.
Wow.
What they had to do, what disgusting, vile thing did they have to do to become what they are?
Yeah.
And sometimes the only way to forget is to die.
Zach, we've got to take a quick break. You're blowing me away, and I know you're blowing our audience away. Folks, if you want to hear a copy of today's show, you can actually call us at 877-526-2151 or go on our website and listen to the podcast at catholicrc.org. When we come back, we're going to have some more questions. We got people waiting on the line. Zachary King, former Satanist, where he's coming out to California. That's the 29th and 30th of July. If you'd like to join us with Zach and Father Bob and Jesse Romero, call 877-526-2151 or go to our website, catholicrc.org. You got a flyer there for that event, our second annual Spiritual Warfare Conference. Again, this is Zachary King, Terry Barber, and Jesse Romero, blowing me away in the sense of talking to a former Satanist. You got to continue to hear this. We're going to come right back after a quick break.
Back to the Terry and Jesse Show on Immaculate Heart Radio. Want to join the conversation? Call 888-526-2151. Now here's Terry and Jesse.
We're back. This is the Terry and Jesse Show, Blue Collar Catholic Radio. We've got Zachary King, former Satanist, now on fire Catholic Christian, part of Team Jesus.
Amen.
He's basically ripped off the jersey that used to say Team Satan, and he's trampled it underfoot. He's now part of the winning team. We're asking him questions about the culture of death, about Satanism, and how it interfaces with our culture today. I just came across something that I just want to back up what Zachary said. We asked him a question about if Satanism interfaces with the whole abortion industry, and of course Zachary said resoundingly yes. I just looked at here the Detroit chapter of the Church of Satan. Here it is from their website. the Detroit chapter of the Church of Satan, here are 5 things that they stand for. It's right on their website. It says this. It says they're pro-abortion, 2, pro-contraception, 3, in favor of same-sex marriage, 4, they believe the unborn baby is tissue that belongs to a woman, and 5, they demand that religious symbols that not be allowed in the public square. So what Zachary basically said was he was right on the money. Zach, let me ask you another question as we're talking about how Satanism interfaces with our culture and the culture of death in general. There's a TV series that came out on Fox TV. It's on primetime television during viewing time, and the TV series is called Lucifer. And basically, it's a TV series which shows Lucifer, who's the devil, in a favorable light. My question to you is, does this surprise you that this would be on television? You know, after all, isn't it St. Paul that told us in 2 Corinthians 11:14, beware, for even Satan disguises himself as an angel of light. We've been warned. Now Hollywood has this television series. Do you believe this is going to make Satanism more mainstream and more palatable towards young people, or do you think it's going to have no effect?
I think that there's always going to be people that are affected. There's people that don't have good discernment, and so many people don't go to church these days. If you go to church, there's so many churches that don't speak out against the devil. There's a lot of people that, I personally know an exorcist in New Jersey that doesn't believe in the devil and doesn't believe in hell. And he was made the exorcist by the bishop, who also doesn't believe in the devil and doesn't believe in hell. Ouch. And made him an exorcist because he expected he could get favors from the Pope if he did what the Pope asked. So I don't know if he got the favors, but I know that there's a lot of people in that diocese that are not getting the help they want or need, because whenever he goes to see them, he just says, "Oh, you're schizophrenic. That's the problem."
Got it.
And it's like, and the poor people that have him as their priest may be like, well, there's no devil. I might as well watch this show because he's not real. I've heard that the show is entertaining. That of course the devil is witty and charming and handsome, and things that I'm sure that the devil can be, because he's trying to deceive you. He doesn't want to be as the roaring lion out to devour. He doesn't want to appear as as a deceitful, hurtful, wanting to kill everyone, wanting everyone to die and go to hell. He doesn't want to be that. He wants you to like him. He wants you to think that he's going to do whatever it is that you're wanting. He's willing to do it, whereas God will either make you wait or tell you no. And because we don't have this discernment, when we see this show come on, it's like, oh, but the devil is so funny in this, and he's so right on point, and he's so handsome, and this is who I'd like to have as my best friend, or I'd like to have this as my boyfriend or my husband, or, I need to get my friends to watch this show because it's just an amazing show. And it's like, and it is well, because like when Harry Potter came out and all the characters in Harry Potter are so lovable, like, why would you not want these people to be your best friends? And obviously when you start watching something, that had 7 books and it came out to 8 movies. Eventually some child is going to say, can I do magic in real life? Sure. The same thing as watching Lucifer. Somebody's going to say, well, I wonder if I can make this deal in real life. And Satan, of course, he'll let you make that deal. Yeah. He wants to take you to hell. He wants that to be the final result.
Well said.
So, unfortunately, yes, it can have a negative result.
Yeah, I got it. We've got so many people on hold as anonymous, so let's go with Anonymous in Los Angeles. And before I do that, again, folks, get the message out about Satan, that he is real. Zachary King came out last year for a spiritual warfare conference. He gave 5 talks out here, and if you want to get that conference on an MP3 disc, you get it all for like $25. That's a great way to get a lot of good material on spiritual warfare with Jesse Romero, Father John Struso. Call 877-526-2151 to get any of those talks. 877-526-2151. Anonymous in Los Angeles, welcome to the Terry and Jesse Show. You're on with Zachary King.
Just a quick question. I saw a YouTube video about how Michael Jackson had sold his soul to the devil, and he had admitted that, and he was part of the Illuminati. And it went on to say that, he tried to get, he was tired of it, and he wanted to pretty much get his soul and his life back, and he tried to expose the Illuminati and the owner of Sony Records. I guess he's a high-ranking member of the Illuminati. And it said they killed him for it. He was murdered because he tried to do that. Do you know anything? Is there any truth to that, or do you know anything about that?
I do not know if that's true. Just because it's on the internet doesn't make it a true thing. Mm-hmm. But so many things have like an air of truth to them. I mean, Michael Jackson in multiple interviews spoke out against the Illuminati, sometimes referring to them as the Illuminati and sometimes referring to them as other things. And there is what's called being suicided out. When you've outlived your usefulness, then you just turn up dead. Now that happens in God's world as well, because when God can't use you anymore, you die. But when the devil has decided that you are starting to come out against him, and you're not bringing more souls to him, you're not able to sell yourself well enough, then he as well will want to get rid of you. Whether that's how Michael Jackson died or not, I don't know. But he did, he spoke out a lot just before he passed. So that does make that look suspicious.
Yeah. All right. Well, Anonymous, thank you for your call. Hope that answered your question. Before we go to our next caller, but I just let's ask this question for Zachary. Yeah, because does exorcism movies give Satan too much credit? That's a question that I've had before, where maybe sometimes they're giving him too much credit. What are your thoughts on that?
Terry, let's
back up.
Let's back up. A lot of people are probably wondering, because the name was thrown out there, Illuminati.
Oh, yeah.
Zach, people are saying
what? Yeah, that's true.
Can you tell the audience a quick definition of because you're talking as if people assume that they know what it is. It went right over most people's heads. What is the Illuminati? Give us a definition.
Dumbing down the definition, the Illuminati was supposedly started in Bavaria around 300 years ago. And then they were disbanded by the government and the Catholic Church. They reformed in France. They're rumored to have been the French Revolution was caused by them. They also were rumored to have started the United States because they wanted to control the country, and at the time the United States didn't exist. So when you look at the people like to throw out numerology, but numerology in the sense of the Illuminati is supposed to have certain numbers that mean they are associated with, like when a movie comes out and you see like a particular number on like the door of a truck, then people like to jump on, well, that movie's showing that they're associated with this group. This group does, they make people rock stars, they make actors famous, they're out to rule the world through the devil, and they use satanic means to move their agendas forward. They work a lot with the Freemasons. They work a lot with blatant satanic groups, and they work with the Illuminati that I worked with used high wizards to do their magic.
Wow!
It's a satanic organization that is just trying to move Satan's agenda forward, and that they're trying to bring about the end of the world.
Wow.
Zach, there's an article on Fox News that says everything you just said right now. The article on Fox News basically says the Illuminati was a German organization in the 18th century composed of atheists and deists that tried to promote the separation of religion and state. Nowadays, Illuminati has become synonymous with conspiracy theories. In today's pop culture, the Illuminati is an alleged secret society of powerful musicians, powerful CEOs, and powerful politicians rumored to worship the devil and to be part of the Illuminati. Some of these names are Nicki Minaj, Lady Gaga, Kanye West, Jay-Z, Beyonce, rapper Tyler, the Creator. This is all in an article called Fox News Entertainment. You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show. We got Zachary King. We're asking him questions about spiritual warfare and the devil. And Terry, the question that you had asked him.
Yeah, before we're going to take a quick break, but Zach, the question I'm asking is about and well, you know what? I'm going to ask this before because we talked about the August 15th this year. They're going to have a black mass out in Oklahoma. And why would they pick that date since that's the Feast of the Assumption? So when we come back from the break, that's the question I'm going to ask. Is there a reason for that? Folks, you're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show. We're giving away Zachary King's conversion story, how Our Lady intervened in his life as a Satanist, and now he's an on-fire Catholic. You can get 2 copies of that by just calling 877-526-215. And don't forget the conference is coming up with Zachary. That'll be July 29th and 30th. You can register even right now by calling 877-526-215. When we come back, we're going to take some more calls, so don't turn that dial.
Back to the Terry and Jesse Show on Immaculate Heart Radio. Want to join the conversation? Call 888-526-2151. Now here's Terry and Jesse.
The Lord takes delight in his people. Sing to the Lord a new song. Alleluia, alleluia. That's today's psalm at Holy Mass. We're talking about the deception of the devil, specifically that word, the deception of the devil, how he deceives us. We have Zachary King on. We're asking him questions. Today's gospel reading, it tells you how to protect yourself against the deception of the devil. How do you protect yourself? It says, Jesus said to his disciples, when the advocate comes, whom I will send you from the Father, the Spirit of truth, who proceeds from the Father, he will testify to me, and you also testify, because you have been with me from the beginning. So, church, how do we know the truth? We've got to call upon the Holy Spirit. Make it a practice every day to say the prayer, come, Holy Spirit, and fill the hearts of your faithful. Say that prayer every single day. Call upon the Holy Spirit, because the Holy Spirit, the Lord, the giver of life, will lead you into all truth, and you'll never fall into Satanism if you're close to the Holy Spirit. Zach, Terry had asked you a question before the break. Terry, can you repeat the question?
Yeah, the question, Zach, is August 15th, the Feast of the Assumption. They're going to have a black mass in Oklahoma City. My question to you is, why are they picking dates that are like feast days on the church? Is there a connection with that?
Well, actually, what they're doing this year, this particular black mass, they're doing a black mass service first, and then they're going to do a second service after that. They have a Hindu religion and a Hindu goddess. And according to them, their Hindu goddess is in control of all other goddesses in the world. And so they've named theirs the Consumption of Mary, because their goddess is supposed to defeat Mary on this day.
Wow. Now
and I thought, wow, Satan must really hate his own people worse than he hates us, because he's having his own people on the front lines attacking Mary right off the bat. Now, another thing about this group, and this is the same group that did the Black Mass, last year, and they also did, or it might have been a couple of years ago, and this is the same group where the guy that is leading that group also did the desecration of the Mary statue last year in Oklahoma City, across the street from one church.
Wow.
Now, here's an example of they do recognize pedophile as a worse term than Satanist, because that guy is a pedophile. He's a convicted child molester, and that's public record. And knowing that, he embraces the title Satanist.
Wow. Because
he knows that Satanist isn't as bad as being called a pedophile.
Amazing. Folks, is this microphone on? Did you just hear what Zachary said, everybody? I really do want you to get a copy of his conversion story. I'm so grateful to God that, Zach, you're on our team, baby. Whoa! Because I wouldn't want you to be on that other team, man. Amazing. Folks, call 877-526-2151 to get 2 copies of his conversion story. And don't forget, Zach's coming to Covina, the Sacred Heart Chapel, July 29th and 30th for the 2nd annual Spiritual Warfare Conference.
Let's go to the phone line, sir. I think we've got a couple of callers. We have Anonymous. calling from West Covina. Anonymous, you're on. Go ahead.
Oh, hi, guys. I'm so happy to be on here, Zachary King. I really admire you, and I spread the word of God and your story to my sister, and she's very interested. And I had a quick question. I'll try to make it super quick. Ever since I was young, I used to have these the thoughts and temptations towards other girls, but I always ignored them because I knew it was wrong. And then one day when I was 17, they got stronger. So I spent a whole week trying to fight that off, and I went to church, and thankfully I went to a priest that knew the truth, and he told me, "Don't worry, it's just the devil. You're not born that way." And I was very thankful to God because I didn't want that lifestyle. So when I was really happy about it, that I looked down at the floor and I went, nice try, devil, but God won this round. And ever since then, I've been tempted, and I've been ever since then, I told my priest, and he said, "Well, that was your pride, and now the devil's going to attack you." And ever since then, I've had really bad temptations. I'm 32 now, and I still have those. And I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's just my priest has kind of made it seem like I'm crazy, and I can't talk to anyone else. It's constantly, I can't
Carrie,
see
can
something
you
nice.
give her my phone number?
I will, Anonymous. You're going to call. I want to take your phone number. I'll get you on and we will talk to you after off the air. But don't. Okay. We're gonna take good care of you, Anonymous. And I hope you're being in West Covina. You're right next to Covina, where Zachary's coming in July. So I hope that you can make it.
Oh yes, I want to go.
Oh, good. So that's what I'd like to do. First of all, Zach, I'll get her number, and may God bless you and persevere. We will not let go of you. This is going to be good for you to talk to Zach.
Okay, thank you.
All righty. God love you.
You're listening to the Terry and Jesse Show. We've got Zachary King on. Let's go to another phone call. Anonymous calling from San Jose. You're on, Anonymous. Go on. Go ahead.
Hi, hello, and peace be with you. And
peace be with
you.
I'd
like to have a few. Yeah, I'd like to have a few comments. Yeah, and I think that we as Catholics sometimes we go to church, but then we do not understand another side, and we don't know the teaching. Like, for example, why Jesus asked us to pray the 3 p.m. hour, the Divine Mercy, but just like Zach said, they kill people in the morning, so they always do something opposite. And Jesus also said that he is the truth and the way. And we also know that the devil is the deception, so he's a false, he's whatever opposite. And I also want to promote that we like Pope Leo, he saw the vision of the devil that dominate the church, so he asked us to pray the Saint Michael prayer.
Yes, Anonymous. Yes. Do you have a question? I want you. All those things you promote, divine, all those are good, but do you have a specific question for Zach?
Yeah.
Go ahead, because we only have a couple minutes left. Go ahead.
Yeah. But then for me, sometime in the middle of the night, I woke up at exactly 3 p.m. Mm-hmm. So I do not know why, but then at the moment I just kneel down and pray the divine prayer. So I wonder if there's any connection.
All
with
right,
that.
That's your question. Good point, Zach. Your answer?
Yes. When you get up at 3 a.m., anything between 3 and 4 a.m. actually, either way, whoever's waking you up, it's a call to prayer. Either the Blessed Mother knows that you need to pray, or God knows you need to pray, or the devil's waking you up just for whatever reason because he's a jackass, basically. You guys call him, you say he's like an ape or a monkey. No, he's a jackass. He is waking you up for whatever reason, and no matter why you wake up, it's a reason to pray. And the Divine Mercy Chaplet is ideally the best thing you can pray at that time. So remember that everything he does is a mockery of God. So 3 p.m. is when Jesus died. It's, Divine Mercy Hour. So the opposite of that would be the Devil's Hour.
Right.
At 3 a.m.
Well, that makes sense.
Also, if anybody has anything for me that they would like to ask me, if you couldn't get through on this phone call or whatever, if you go to my website, allsaintsministry.org, and my phone number is there, my email address is there. Anybody can contact me that way.
Perfect. And Zach, you're going to be out here in Covina July 30th and 31st for a spiritual warfare conference with Jess Romero and Father Bob. And then people can actually meet you. If people want to come, just call the 877-526-2151 number, and you can register even at this moment. Jesse, we only have a minute or two. Do you have a final thought with Zachary? Or question?
Yeah, I know Father Bob Guerin. He's going to be doing the spiritual warfare conference with us. He's in communication with Zachary because he's trying to follow Zachary's guideline on how to shut down an abortion clinic. Father's been praying at an abortion clinic for over 10 years, and his goal as a priest is to shut it down. And so I know he's in communication with Zachary because Zachary has good biblical prayerful strategies on how to do that. Here's the last thing I want to mention. Another person called, but she dropped off, or he dropped off, and asked, "Can we taunt the devil?" That was another question I saw on the screen there.
Yep.
And there's nowhere in Scripture, Zachary can confirm this. There's nowhere in Scripture where we're called to taunt the devil. The Bible does say in 1 Peter 5:9, resist the devil and he will flee. And it also says that in James chapter 4, verse 7, resist the devil and he will flee. But there's no verse in the Bible that says for you to taunt the devil. So my answer to that question is don't do it. Pray for protection, but don't taunt demons because that's not our parameter. Zach, any questions, any comments you want to make before we wrap it up?
No.
Well, let me ask you this, Zach, because I do. I do, brother. I want to ask you, Mom and Dad that are listening right now, some of them are just like blown away by the contact we just had. In 30 seconds or less, tell us what they're going to get when you come out to Covina for this spiritual warfare conference. Are you going to be able to meet with people and actually talk to them directly? Is that's pretty much what you do? Is that a fair statement when you come out that you make yourself available?
Absolutely. I am available for pretty much the entire time.
Yeah.
I'll meet with, if anybody wants to meet with me individually or meet with me as a group, you want me to talk to your kids or talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, whatever you want me to do, I'm up for any of that.
Awesome.
As well as however many talks you want me to give while I'm there. I think I gave four last time.
Yeah.
I'm up for doing 4 again. If you want me to do more, that's fine.
Sounds good. Well, Zach, we're grateful to have you. We're out of time. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll have you again another time. Folks, if you want to go to that conference with Zachary King and Jesse Romero and all the rest, call 877-526-2151. If you want to get his conversion story, get it. It's free. You just pay the shipping. 877-526-2151. We've got Steve Ray on tomorrow, everybody. God love you.